Dzień dobry, witam Państwa serdecznie. Dobrze mnie słychać?
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome. Can you hear me well? On the following day of the Economic Forum of Young Leaders, my name is Wojciech Molendowicz, and I have the pleasure to moderate today for you the panel with our guests, excellent guests, whom I will kindly invite to the stage. Mr. Andrzej Czerwiński, Minister of State Treasury, and of 3 terms, actually, is among us. Mr. Minister, most welcome. And this is the person who is in greatest hurry today. Mr. Minister has several panels today. We know in a moment he's got to be in Krynica attending the next panel, but he still has 1 hour available for us. Mr. Zbigniew Konieczek, President of the Board of NEWAG SA. A very warm welcome, Mr. President. Mr. Stanisław Gągała, President of the Board of Goldrop Company. Mr. Krystian Wolak, Event Experience. Warm welcome, sir. And I reversed the sequence today intentionally because we had Mr. Minister, so the only lady on the panel will be the last to be invited. Grażyna Sukiennik, graduate of AGH, University of Technology, of drilling specialty, a woman, engineer, drilling on every day. Well, I think she will tell us herself what she is doing and what's interesting in it. These are our panelists, and the title of this debate is Knowledge Today, Success Tomorrow. Although I think that from time to time we will be... Oh, I do apologize. We didn't know. Well, we apologize for this. Some small misunderstanding. Knowledge today, success tomorrow. Well, gentlemen, as majority of our guests came from very far away, I would kindly ask you, using these microphones, please, tell us a few words about yourselves from business perspective, because, well, business, but also on private side, you, madam and gentlemen, everybody please fit in 2 to 3 minutes. Mr. Minister, may we? I am a Master of Science in Power Engineering, graduate of AGH, University of Technology in Krakow. Additionally, I studied management and economy there. Regarding my activities professionally, I worked as an engineer for 10 years at a power plant, and I had my own business for 5 years. Then I became president of Nowy Sącz, the mayor of Nowy Sącz, 2 terms. Having finished my work as the mayor, I was elected to be an MP in 2021, and I am an MP until now. At the parliament, I chaired the Committee for the Power Sector, and I specialized in law cases related to economy and power sector, and for 3 months I have been State Treasury Minister. Thank you very much. Mr. Gągała is holding a microphone, so let him introduce himself. A very warm welcome. I was born quite long ago in the former century. All of us did, yes. So university education and humane. My passion is history and professional life. It's for 26 years, co-owner of Goldrop Company, producing cleaning stuff with a seat in Limanova and also in Ukraine, in Rogatin. It is some 71 kilometers away from Lviv, between Lviv and Ivano-Frankivsk. So much for now. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Zbigniew Konieczek. Zbigniew Konieczek. I am now president of the board of a stock-listed company, NEWAG SA, producing railway and tram vehicles. I am a mechanical engineer because I graduated from Krakow University of Technology. My education all was in the former system, so actually the shortcomings which were in place, because they were especially in economy, I had to catch up with. And in 1990s, among others, at the School of Business I did. I am in my present company. I have been in it for the 15th year, managing the company. Earlier, I had experience in a mining company in Glini Gorlice, mining industry related, and my professional career. I started as a mechanic of combustion engines, and I actually climbed up to the position of the president. So an American model. Thank you. Well, beautiful business and political CVs. It actually looks really moving. Ms. Grażyna Sukiennik, a drilling engineer, and she's at the beginning of a rich political career. Soon she will be candidate to the parliament, to be MP on the list of PO party. But I added this because business is most important today. Well, good morning, a very warm welcome to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at this hall, and I remember that last year I was, my last visit here was I was playing the drums with a rock band on this stage. I wanted to tell you about my professional path, which especially for women may be interesting. Namely, already when selecting my secondary school profile, I had to decide appropriately to have it easier to build my professional path. I was in maths and IT specialization at the first secondary school here in Nowy Sącz, the best one here. And later I was admitted at the AGH University of Technology in Krakow to study drilling, namely mining and geology at the drilling of oil and gas department. I graduated with the title of Master of Science Engineering on exploitation of deposits of liquid raw materials. And what are we doing? This profile professionally is actually prospecting and extracting raw materials like oil, gas, natural gas, thermal waters, mineral waters. Now I am working in a company doing drilling, and not like people think, boring holes in the belly, but drilling deep wells, and among others. And we are also drilling profiles, geological profiles. And we are also involved in geoengineering for construction, for roads, investment projects, a full range of drilling services. I am assistant to the drilling unit manager, so I work at site directly. And a group of people report to me, whom I supervise. What does it mean? This means that I have to take care of all issues related to work health and safety matters, and whether everything is going on in accordance with the law in the given scope. So apart from that, work, as you can, I think, guess, is quite hard because it is at site, and access is very difficult. Often it is in remote places. I have to be spending all my day in the fields, actually, and this is, in some sense, very difficult for me also because of my gender, because Grażyna Sukiennik, a woman who is not afraid to wear rubber boots and hard hat at work. Well, and now Mr. Krystian Wolak. Good morning. Hi. I was introduced by Krystian, Wolak, the moderator, so what everybody seemed to be interested in when I was sitting where you are now, I liked it, age, 35 years of age, a graduate of Nowy Sącz Business School, and AGH is dominating here, because actually in my postgraduate studies I've got AGH in my diploma, so a little bit of merger of management and engineering. I established Event Experienced company, active in special events, media and entertainment. So I think that much of an introduction. Well, it depends on the guest. We asked only to fit in 2 minutes, and that's enough, yes? Okay, we'll be talking about... So, Mr. Artur Racicki, I do apologize for this misunderstanding. Social Wi-Fi. Good morning, Artur Racicki. And for a long time, I have not been talking about my age and education background. 35 years, economist. I also studied a little bit of philosophy, and for 12 years, I have been an entrepreneur. To be honest, this is the key thing, and I'm involved in new media, technologies, and currently, for 2.5 years, I've been president of the board of Social Life. This is Polish innovation, which we are actually we are conquering Polish market. We are present at implementations in the US, Germany, Saudi Arabia, or in Turkey, and the service of social Wi-Fi is based on the thing where you make availability of hotspots in hotels, restaurants, or places like this venue. And giving availability traditionally looks, so as you know, you key in a password and log into Wi-Fi. The user is identified because you have to leave your email address, and then the owner of a hotel or a place like that can analyze the content or the data rather and spit out marketing stuff, vouchers, and invite to return to their place, send information about when breakfast is available or whether there is availability of spa. So we convert normal Wi-Fi into a marketing and analysis tool, so a smart Wi-Fi. Thank you. We have a problem with one microphone. If it can be replaced, I'll be grateful. So we know our panelists already, and I think a little bit incidentally, you actually broke down into 2 sectors, dear guests, more experienced business on the left-hand side and an aspiring business, we may say, or actually starting business, no hard feelings on the other side. So I would like to start with one thing. Knowledge. Knowledge is a must as an element for success. 2 gentlemen, 2 of our panelists said, especially Mr. Gągała, said something characteristic. You reached success, but when you were at the stage of gaining knowledge, I think you were not thinking of the success yet, especially Mr. Gągała, a person fulfilled in business, but humanist by educational background, lover of history. So, what, Mr. President, will you tell these young people now that professional knowledge is not necessarily needed for success in business? Well, knowledge is needed, but let me recall something. When the idea is born, it is born in very simple conditions, because far away from here in Chicago, and where I spent a few years, and yes, I was working hard there, cleaning American huge malls. I didn't know that in a few years' time they would come to Poland and become still larger. And I learned then how much cleaning chemicals they consumed, not knowing the reality of Polish market, because I left when Poland was different, and this was already after transformation of 1989. It appeared that in Poland you may also do similar business. not wasting time, I established a small company in the US in a very simple way, and I dreamt to be able to establish companies like this in Poland. Time is actually in short supply now, so I'll tell you about this at a different situation. But when I came to Poland, I needed to apply for a permit for a company to be established, and at the ministry there was a special agency which was issuing approvals, and I got such one on the 28th of June 1991. But to obtain such an approval, I had to present a business plan. But what is business plan? Well, I had to present the vision of the company for several years forwards, and I wrote it in hand on a paper in ink, and those gentlemen said it was good, and I got an approval. And let me tell you the following. My plan was completed, established in the third year of my company's existence. I was short-sighted. Today, the company is exporting products to 23 countries, to Asia, to America and Africa, and all over Europe. Well, so professional knowledge, was it or wasn't it needed? Well, you have to be a good organizer and to have a vision. I have never been a chemical engineer, and chemistry is absolutely necessary here, so I made use of people who had the chemical knowledge and the skill of building a team and then managing them. Well, this is the basics of the success, and sometimes huge money invested wrongly bring people to bankruptcy. And one more thing is extremely important. You have to be extremely careful when spending your money. You have to watch every coin from both sides several times. I saw it on television. Well, the local authority head from Chełmiec, he said he looks at one zloty several times before investing it, and his community is developing very well. So the same in company. You have to be careful with each and every single zloty. You don't have to start from huge offices, armchairs and stuff. No, you have to have the vision, know your way, and know where you are aiming at. Well, Mr. Konieczek, I saw, didn't start from a vast office. Even today, it is pretty humble. He started from work, but he was also in his professional business path in a very similar situation to Mr. Gągała, when you were gaining knowledge, which we are talking about today. So, firstly, you were a mechanical engineer. This knowledge is what you need also today, but you are first of all today making use of knowledge which at that time was not available in the market. Schools didn't teach it. Yes, that is really true. So back to this office thing. I remember when I was taking over 15 years ago, the position of a president in a company about to collapse. The office was very poor, and I gave up a company car and driver, and this stayed until now. But back, what is necessary? Yes, knowledge, definitely so. The question is, what kind of knowledge? I was considering among Nowy Sącz entrepreneurs, because I don't know if you realize that in Nowy Sącz we have the greatest number of millionaires per capita in Poland. And you are one of them, yes. Yes. Well, a big hand for this declaration. Somebody admits officially to be a millionaire. Well, I worked hard to reach it, and I'm not shy about it. But back to my thought. So, looking at the company, Fakro, Konspol, Wiśniowski, and earlier Optimus, looking at the educational background of those people. It varied and not necessarily was business-based. As far as I remember, none of them had a business educational background. Neither have I. I've a technical educational background. And what is important, in my opinion, that's really educational background is important, but what is more important, very hard work, vision, and aiming for your goal. You have to very clearly put forth the goal which you want to achieve, and perhaps 5% of good luck to be in the right place at the right time. And what sort of educational background? Good question. I don't know, but I know one thing. if, at least in my case, this was so. Mathematics, which is the queen of all sciences, is giving you the background, the basis for this education. We can cope with the rest. As the moderator said a moment ago, we had, most of us, this left-hand side here, in the former system, had to cope with the system. And yes, it had good and it had bad sides. I mean, this education at that time. We had educational leap at the end of 1980s, 1990s, computers, IT, which had not been in place before. And when I tell you that at the university, and we had a subject called electronic calculation technology and a computer. I don't know if it would fit in this stage size-wise. It was 1980s. And then we shifted to PC computers. Graduating from the university, I had no idea what a PC was. And being at the age of a gentleman here, 30-odd years, I could write programs in the BASIC. Simply, I had to learn it myself. So if you want, you can. So my recipe for success is educational background, hard work, and a little bit of good luck. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Konieczek admitted that when he was graduating, he didn't know what a PC computer is, and today he is building, it is a fresh news, building the newest trains in Poland. They broke 266 kilometers an hour. Officially, we could drive faster, but we didn't have approval from above. And the PC was not possible. No, it was necessary, because without a laptop, when producing trains and the controls, no way to do it without a computer. Mr. Minister, knowledge. You did not study at a school for presidents, for ministers, because they don't teach it. So where does it come from? Well, somebody asked what for the knowledge, and the answer can be very brief. Knowledge today, success tomorrow. If at school they give us difficult tasks to solve. Mr. President mentioned mathematics, but let us take an integer. A humanist gets such a task. He looks at this not understanding anything, but somebody who knows what definitions and formula to apply, say, well, it's so simple, I'll do this, that, and the task is solved. So knowledge is needed for difficult task to not be difficult anymore, because this is what you know for which way I should take to get to Gdynia in order to avoid danger and traffic jams and so on. People who know select an optimum, relatively safe and quick way. Those who don't know take the risk and difficulty, tension, stress, because they don't have this knowledge. Now, when we are talking about business and what the moderator asked me, for example, about why I was president, MP, I was an entrepreneur, and I worked as member of staff in power sector, and not always direction-wise. The activities actually were based on education from schools. But apart from the knowledge from school, you must also know about yourself. This external knowledge as a tool is needed to obtain a certain goal, which you assume, but I must know what I am expecting in my life, because if my expectations are that I will be manager, I will be millionaire, or drilling engineer, or an entrepreneur, drilling engineer and millionaire in one person, yes, but do I like drilling and wearing rubber boots, or do I like counting the millions or billions which I have in my bank account? What gives me happiness? Because not everybody will be a millionaire, a manager, or entrepreneur. Such people are at the maximum 10% in life, but happy people, the number should be 100%. But if I determine my place in my life, because I know what I have been created for, I know what my expectations are, I insist, I know, I have the knowledge of myself. So I'm using external tools which will lead me to being happy. because there is nothing worse than jealousy eating on me. Well, that my neighbor has a much better car than I have. It is a nonsense jealousy. And now when we talk of success, so if I know that I want to get to a certain place in my life, it is not I'm dreaming and playing the lottery to be rich. No, I determine stages in my career. I enrich my knowledge, expand my knowledge, and step by step I come closer to my goal. Thank you very much. And I wanted to ask Mr. Artur Racicki, wouldn't you like to demolish the topic of our debate today? Because why knowledge today, success tomorrow? No, knowledge today, success today. With your success, actually there is a certain story related to it. I hope you will tell us about what happened during a certain flight in aeroplane. Knowledge today, success today. Why waiting with the success till tomorrow? Yes, good, but I would like to refer and a little bit to wrap up what has been said so far. So I'll back it up with results of studies. There is a guy, Bill Gross, multi-investor, maybe more billionaire rather than millionaire, and he made a study on 200 American companies, technological new companies, and he was studying the factors for success and the results. What is most important success-wise? Well, it is in line what you had said, but so the first thing is timing. To make your product in the right moment. This is most important. It appears that really many companies, especially innovative ones, actually collapse because it is too fast, too late. They enter the market not as the first one, and so on. There is no room there. Another factor for success is people, building the team and execution. If you've got people, you have to manage them. The third element is goal. Clearly defined goal. You have to know what you are aiming at. Unless you have a vision and goal, simply people are not following, not going towards what they don't know to reach. The fourth is business plan. So putting the elements together well, what is to be revenue, what is to be cost element, and so on. And the last thing is fundraising. That means obtaining funds from investors, let's say, for development. It is the last one, 14%. And there is nothing like luck, good luck in business. Luck is something which comes out. I mean, luck is actually accompanying the bold ones, the active ones. No. People say, yes, he was lucky, and well, he was lucky here. He sent the coupon in the lottery. Yes, it's an example. So about the knowledge, because we were discussing knowledge, we have absolutely pathological, in Polish situation, a pathological educational structure. Very few vocational schools, very few graduates from technical schools, absolutely too many students. Then students go down to work at the level of laborer because we generate students in Poland. We study too long. So in order to do business, yes, knowledge may be useful, but it is absolutely not absolutely necessary. It is none of the key factors. And in one case, how can you obtain an investor? My case, we have an investor in Poland, a large entrepreneur, Rafał Brzoska, owner of Impost company, and I had a situation. I really did want to work with him. My startup had traction already, was growing very nicely, and I needed an investor, and there are lots of those investors present in the market, but it's also determination to work with those you want to work with. And I sat down. I had a big problem to make an appointment for a second meeting. We had the first meeting, half an hour, so it was, let's make an appointment at 10 o'clock on Thursday, but I got information. Unfortunately, Mr. President is busy. He has to fly to Krakow. I waited so long for the meeting. At what time is he flying? 1 p.m. So please give me the number of his seat. I will buy my ticket. It was in 3 hours' time. I will simply fly on the plane, but I must not give you the number of his seat. You can do everything. Do give me the number of his seat. Well, we talked, and she gave me. I phone to a lot, and they say it's busy. So where are seats busy? I tell to the assistant, please change Rafał's seat. And that assistant says, no, you have gone mad. No, don't exaggerate. No, I gave her the number. Please change his seat and rebook his seat. It took a little bit longer, but then he rebooked his seat. I bought a ticket next to him, drove to the airport. At the airport, Rafał saw me and said, oh, hi, Artur. You're also flying to Krakow? Yes, hi, Rafał. Yes, I'm flying with you because you actually cancelled my meeting, so I arranged a meeting on the plane. So I took out the laptop and we had 35 minutes on the plane where we discussed the investment strategy. He is now investor in our company. So this is about generating your luck. Yes, I generated my luck, but I had to run a little bit around it. So thank you, Mr. Konieczek nodded because he gained an investor in a different way, I guess. But although, yes, he also flew, the investor flew to Nowy Sącz. Mr. Krystian Wolak, please. I'm laughing that after Artur and his show story about the plane, everybody will remember it. Not much has to be added here. I hope there are no representatives of educational sector in this audience because actually they had harsh comments a moment ago, and the topic is knowledge today, success tomorrow, and almost everybody questioned that knowledge. Some people to a greater, some to a lesser extent. I could perhaps not question the topic like knowledge, but I would modify it a little bit for sure. I would definitely add experience, consequence, and now be careful, only success tomorrow. So experience and consequence today, success tomorrow. We start from knowledge, and we live in, unfortunately, in the time where we had absolute access of knowledge and information. And I even do agree with people who insist that knowledge and information these days is a poison. We have too much of it, and like we can eat unhealthy food and get poisoned, we can also get poisoned with unnecessary knowledge. So knowledge or information mess from the internet. No, I would not say it's equal. Actually, information shit and knowledge from internet. It's not a situation anymore that when I want to learn something, I have to go to the library, find an encyclopedia. Every knowledge is in our smartphone at hand. Therefore, I'm placing such a big stress on experience, consequence, and attention. I always, when I was sitting like you are now in the audience, or when I studied, when I went to conferences, I enjoyed it very much. I tried to learn something what you do not learn from books, and I listened very carefully to panelists on my left-hand side, because, both companies which grew up here, both NEWAG and Golddrop, they did not take 1 or 2 years to grow. So therefore, I'm talking of experience and consequence, and now we can see people of success, millionaires, but we do not see, 20 years of hard work. I don't know how much time exactly it took to build these companies. Golddrop, close to 30 years. NEWAG, in Mr. Konieczek, 15 years. So all the more I'm talking of experience and consequence. And what I would like to share with you now is, and what I have not found reading, I didn't find this knowledge earlier, and which I have now already as an entrepreneur of some success, but also an entrepreneur who burned down 2 startups. People often talk of their success, and we see those who were successful, but we do not see those hundreds of thousands of those who failed because they were not lucky. I would even add more than 5% of good luck. You said that you have a machine to generate good luck. No. I always do my best to mobilize people to be active, because then the good luck is on your way. It's easier to generate it. Yes, but what I could share with you now, or I would like to share, its consequence and attention. What is now, I guess you are all younger than I am when I'm looking at you, so what I missed, somebody had not told me, or I would perhaps be elsewhere now, it was consequence and attention. So what we have most important now, what you have most important, your attention and consequence in those things which you are doing, regardless whether it is a scientific path or running a business or typical path of a career. Well, for the audience, dear ladies and gentlemen, our guests are available. I think imagination has been woken up. Well, which path now? Is it more the path of on the left-hand side or the airway path of Artur Racicki? But it's you to ask the next questions. Grażyna Sukiennik, knowledge is important. A fresh graduate from AGH, University of Technology. Yes, of course, I would like to say that knowledge is very important, and I'll say more. Knowledge, not only the one we are gaining in the sort of studies we choose, but also knowledge from various other areas, which later on is really very needed for us. And based on my own example, I know that I'm moving about law very much, where I did not study law, and I have to understand it, I have to implement it, and I have to execute it, and I have to be doing it in line with law legislation. So you have to be very careful, and this knowledge is of extreme importance, and also the knowledge from microeconomical area. Being assistant manager to the drilling unit, I have to plan small investment projects very often. These are small things compared to the scale of the whole company, but they have big leverage on the work and on how the whole work is completed later on, whether it's ended up with a success and also financial profit or not. And this main knowledge which we are gaining is one thing, but knowledge regarding many other topics is really needed for us. And I am a supporter for the opinion, the more knowledge, the better. Nevertheless, I do not quite agree with what Mr. Minister said. One has to choose such a direction where we feel, well, I am the only girl after this type of studies. 150 people started. There were 15 girls in that band. 50 people graduated, 10 girls in that number. I am the only one working in my job. My female colleagues chose work in offices and various institutions involved in deposits area. So whether wearing rubber boots and hard hats is sort of pleasure for us, and it's very important because we can only then be happy when we are doing it in line with what we really like to do. Thank you very much. Mr. Gągała raised his hand, so he wanted to refer to some input, and I got very intrigued by what gentlemen on opposite sides said. Artur mentioned overproduction of graduates, of students, and a shortage of graduates from vocational schools, secondary vocational schools, and I know Mr. Konieczek has a problem to obtain highly specialized labor. This is very important information about this knowledge. Our discussion is circling around, but Mr. Gągała asked for the microphone, so let me make it available for him. The microphone, yes. Yes, I asked to give me a short time because I wanted to give you a real-life experience. 11 years ago, I established in Lima Nova, I established a regional association of entrepreneurs. I believe that entrepreneurs should have an organization to be taking care of their interests, and one of my ideas was to organize among young people from secondary schools to organize a competition titled I Have an Idea for Business. This program is being organized in Lima Nova area for 10 years already. Association is among the organizers and the founder of the main prize. And let me tell you one thing. In secondary schools, for some time, they have been learning economy, entrepreneurship, and these first ideas for business actually made me gasp, because a young man who is just before graduation says he has an idea, he will go to the bank and take 400 million zlotys loan and build a Congress center. Those young people had no idea of business, of entrepreneurship. And after the first years of running this business in every company, incredible profit appeared, and they were immediately sharing the dividend. At the meeting with teachers who teach entrepreneurship at schools, I shared these comments, and I told them, hey, you are teaching them wrongly. It's impossible. I used to be a teacher for 15 years in the past, and today, if you saw their work now, after 10 years, actually, these projects are small but realistic. They are creating a vision of small companies, small family companies. They have learned some secrets of entrepreneurship, and I think this is what we have to start teaching from in Poland, from deep economic knowledge. If this kind of economic knowledge, knowledge of entrepreneurship, will be in people, not only in entrepreneurs, then the rulers will not be giving out millions or billions of zlotys, because in order to spend money, you have to have something. And this is the knowledge we should remember now of and discuss. Whether too many people... no, I don't know. It's not the point. You may not have an idea of chemistry and you can establish a chemical company. No, you have to simply build a good team, understand people. I keep insisting that a human is the greatest treasure in every company, and a machine can always be acquired. So aren't we going to study at universities? Young people do not go to universities. Start your career from a very simplest business, but take your fate in your own hands. Our guests are available for you. Yes, madam, you were first. Your question first.
And I have some questions for Mr. Andrzej
Czerwiński, tak.
Yes. So, because of the global financial crisis and as a result, the sovereign debt crisis, in the European monetary system, there was a sharp increase in the public debt. In 2015, in the Republic of Poland, we can see that the public debt amount 51% to the GDP. But meanwhile, Poland showed the positive dynamics of the economic growth. So I have two questions. The first one, the terms of the European the European Central Bank is stick to the ratio of the 13% of the government debt to the GDP. And in the future, will Poland move in the euro currency instead of the zloty? And how necessary is the European financial system parallel to the euro currency? And the second, why do you think the fiscal consolidation has not worked in the Greece? And maybe it's because of the weakless political institutions, or do you have some another reasons? Thank you.
Bardzo fachowo, panie ministrze.
Highly professionally, Mr. Minister, evaluating the level of your question, I can say that you have a great knowledge about public finance and economic situation in Europe and worldwide. So very briefly speaking, Poland, yes, really, is among most dynamically developing countries worldwide, because these are objective indicators proving this opinion. And our GDP over the recent 8 years increased by over 20%. certain discipline in public finance is obligatory for all member states, EU member states, and this is also related to the path for reaching the euro. And on this path, Poland has appeared once signing the accession agreement to the EU. There is no deadline for introducing euro as a currency, and one of the elements which helped Poland to move so dynamically through the crisis was having Poland's own currency, because National Bank of Poland could respond to the external economical environment and also politics, monetary policy of our country at this crisis period was a significant factor for dynamic development of Poland. I guess 3 or 4 years, no, maybe more, time is flying. Prime Minister Tusk in Krynica specified a date. No, it was longer. I think it was 2009. Yes, 2009. He said he specified the date when we would have euro, but nobody at that time could have foreseen the crisis. And no politician in Poland's politics could specify the date of Poland taking euro as a currency. Deficit and hole in the budget, swings. These are factors we have to fulfill in order to be in a common currency, and we are aiming at it. Well, the deficit is a little bit higher now, and this is a thing which is completely not dangerous because it is within the tolerance specified by Europe. Thank you. There were more hands raised. Yes, you, sir. Yes. Good morning, Warsaw Independent Institute, Trzański. I have a question to all panelists, because we see that both Mr. Minister and Mrs. Presidents are active in traditional business sectors, focused on, they have a product which they are developing, and here, younger generation is rather active in innovative sector. So do you see an opportunity for our young generation to be involved in this traditional business still? Do we have a chance to gather such a large capital or to create such a product to find our place in investing in value? Well, Mr. Moderator, if you permit, because I have to leave at 10. So Mr. Minister wanted to say the last sentence. I wanted to mention this topic, but with an apology that I have to leave you. In Krynica, also, quite a lot of people are waiting for me. I promised to be 20 to 11 there, but I wanted to answer this question because this is, in my opinion, now a key question in entrepreneurship in Poland. Do let us remember that the EU, when preparing the budget for the second budgetary period, that means 2014 till 2020, pointed at, and we accepted it, to put stakes on innovativeness. It is not infrastructural investment projects which will be priority for Poland until 2020, but innovations. And now I'm leaving a little bit aside. I think Mrs. panelists will say what innovation is, because you have to be able to define it too, and to actually direct people at that. But this is a vast opportunity for young people, innovative people, people who have an idea, because supporting projects like those in a NEWAG company will be priority until 2020. Especially if Philips or other companies, electronic companies, IT companies, are investing in so-called train engines or drivers. It is a combination of tradition which we have here in Nowy Sącz, yes, for 140 years, railways and so on. But this is something completely different when we are talking of innovation. I participated in Wrocław at a conference on innovation organized by KGHM. It might seem that a traditional company, one of the largest worldwide companies producing silver and copper, it is a traditional company. but it's them who organize the conference on innovativeness, and the conclusions are absolutely clear. Everybody organizing around copper and silver, unless they focus on innovativeness or merger of what was done based on traditional methods with what can be done around this business, it is an indicator of getting to success. Thank you very much for an opportunity to be here with you. Thank you very much. Mr. Andrzej Czerwiński, Minister of State Treasury, I understand is saying goodbye to us. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Other panelists can stay with us for still 5 minutes. 5 minutes? Yes. So Mr. Konieczek wanted to answer this question from the audience. I would very gladly meet you once, and we could discuss this topic at length. I mean, your question. Yes, really, what you are saying that such two parts of this business, a traditional business which is producing, generating something, and business, let's call it business in IT. In my opinion, I would not split it like this, because there is a possibility in every sector to do good business. You simply have to have an idea on how to do it. We have lots of examples in Poland, and not only, where companies, it might seem that that market is already closed for those companies, complete, have managed. Let's take the first example. New style, nowy styl from Podkarpackie region. Who could think that starting several years ago to make chairs, ordinary chairs, one could do very good business? Simply people who took up this business had an idea for organization, for producing at minimum cost level, to make a product of high quality, and that product found its place in the market. I will tell you further, we in our company are producing train engines, electrical train engines, and trains traveling between larger cities, regional cities. We make trams and railway carriages, and for this purpose we are buying various elements. Yes, design is ours, construction is ours, but what is most important in such vehicles, it is the drive, electrical energy systems. We are buying it from a Polish company with a seat in Warsaw. That company was established 20 years ago, and one might ask, what did they do it for? Worldwide there is such a competition. We have such powers like Siemens, Alstom, Bombardier, KAV. So where is a place for them? Those people, I know owner of that company personally, a man with passion and very good electronics specialist. He built a team, like gentlemen say here. He led those people with passion, and it's hard to believe, but they are selling their products now to China, where all the world is buying electronics from China. Drives for trains are sold from Poland to China. So it is possible. You simply have to find your place. You have to know what is to be at the end of the path, and what I said at the very beginning, very hard work and consequence. I promised you. Good morning, Krzysztof Dziennicki, young group, active group from Sztum. I came to here from the north of Poland, and I would like to learn from you whether strong influence on business is in political support, local government, government support. This type of words have not been uttered here. We have politicians present here, maybe future politicians too, and I think it is worthwhile to talk of it, whether really this political situation is very strongly influencing how business is operating. So maybe two measures, presidents of companies. Let me answer in one sentence. You must never let a politician go into your company, because you will close down your company very soon after that. If time still permits, yes, madam. Is microphone somewhere close to this lady? She's asking for one.
All the guest speakers. My profession is educational manager, and I'm glad to hear that guest speakers highlight the importance of education in a successful life. And also, I hear to be successful, you should be purposeful and never give up. And I have a question to our successful entrepreneurs about the sustainable, how they make the business sustainable in Poland, and how they protect the rights of the stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from Azerbaijan.
Thank you.
So let me perhaps add one sentence to that single sentence Mr. President mentioned. Local government, territorial, regional government is of great importance for development of local entrepreneurship. Here, actually, it works both ways. If there are lots of companies in the given territory, they will have good conditions. Then the local government will flourish. If they create infrastructure and will be creating good conditions for business to be actually coming to those places, no way. I mean, I'm not after making politics inside the company. I may add, many people will not like me. I will dare say, where you have politics and strong trade unions in the plant, there is no chance for development. My opinion is trade unions should actually operate outside the plant and based on their own money. And now coming back to your question, madam, managing a company is a very complex process. It requires, as all participants in the discussion say, Mr. President, with great experience, say that there must be work, objective goal, there must be direction, there must be people who will be implementing, reaching for those goals. And how do we manage? Poland entered this path of reconstruction, I guess 25 or 30 years ago. Yes, time is flying. And we had to remodel our way of thinking because I guess similarly in Kazakhstan as well as in Poland, different way of looking at entrepreneurship dominated. When I used to be teaching about the current political systems, because this was my subject when I was a teacher, I had to prove the superiority of the comrade junior manager over the manager. Manager was a capitalist and our comrade small manager was the right person. The combination of this knowledge and hard work gives an opportunity for especially medium and small size companies because they are relatively mobile and easiest to manage. Everything has to be balanced and sustainable. Thank you very much. Let me answer you, madam, about relations with shareholders, what it looks like, because you were asking about shareholders. So NEWAG actually is a company I manage, and it is a stock-listed company. IPO process took place in 2013, and we decided in January in 2013, and in December we were listed for the first time on Warsaw Stock Exchange. Very short time, and our relations with potential shareholders and now with shareholders were publicized. We publicized 47% of stocks of our company, and during the roadshow, which lasted 2 weeks, we had a couple dozen meetings with a couple hundred people whom we had to encourage and convince to become our shareholders. What was the result of those meetings? I personally participated in all those meetings, and the result was that a reduction on subscriptions for our shares was 90%. So we were able to convince potential shareholders that it is worthwhile investing in us. And now, twice a year, regularly, we have meetings not with selected shareholders, but with everybody who want to come and attend such a meeting, where we talk about our strategy for the nearest years. We talk about our goals, and we present backlog, pipeline, relations based on mutual trust. This leads then to good business. Thank you very much. 10:05 or even 10:06, so the last sentence remains. I wanted to kindly ask you, well, perhaps too big a word summarizing this discussion, but the very last stress, Mr. Artur Racicki. You have a lot of motivation for acting. You have come to here from various places in Poland and worldwide, so you are a group which is highly entrepreneurial, and if you are interested in doing business, then what is key is to make a decision, have a good timing, and simply get down to work. And I believe that participation in conferences is sometimes even harmful if there are too many, because if we participate in conferences, we have no time for work. So you have to choose something. I'm telling it radically at other meetings, but now let me present it very gently. So let it be some incentive for action. So go forward. I do invite you to visit socialwifi.com webpage. It is in various languages, including Russian. So maybe you can have an idea on how to transform our Polish innovation into some other market. My webpage is racicki.com. You can find me in the Facebook. I actually posted a picture from today's event. You can add me to the watched ones, and this is what communication looks like now. I do encourage you to. So this conference will not end in 5 minutes. It will be on in the internet, and timing is always good because we have representatives of businesses of different timing patterns. Mr. Wolak, my summary will be in line a little bit to your question about whether young people still have a chance in traditional business to have success, and I do agree with Mr. Konieczek. Yes, we have actually got inclined to a trend to move everything to internet and applications, and everybody believe if they do not establish a successful startup, it means they didn't have success in life. In my opinion, for 30 years, and generally we all think that we are living in the innovative world. Everybody is innovative because we have smartphones, but for 30 years no significant invention was made for mankind, what I consider to be such one. Antibiotic, electrical motor. We do not have a cure for cancer. There was a moment in the UK where all funds were spent on development and artificial intelligence when Margaret Thatcher was in power, and so far we do not have it in place. In spite of me working in services and Artur sitting on my right-hand side, I would like to cool down your affection to this hidden innovation, because still all economy is in its majority traditional. I don't know. As an example, let me specify, because what do I want to say in this? Do what you feel well in and do it well. Do not, par force, invent something innovative. Maybe Uber is innovative, but for 10 years, I guess, ordering a cab, a taxi, through a mobile phone, a smartphone, was present in many countries, but all of a sudden somebody came and did it well. We have bookings, we have trip advisors and things to order to book a hotel. Airbnb appeared all of a sudden. It is happening in the internet, but all of a sudden somebody did it well and everybody are using it. And this is what I thought of. So my summary is do what you can do it well, not necessarily looking for artificial intelligence. Well, Ms. Sukiennik, I would also like to address you, sir, about the question. There was something related to politics. One sentence. Stable law is very important because it helps entrepreneurs 100%, especially the young ones. It is very important. I wanted to address you, madam, also. You asked about what allows companies today to survive. Based on the example of my company, today we have crisis in oil business and price of oil is very low. So fresh approach, we do not have to go only one way. We can be drilling water wells. We can be doing a lot of drilling work. So fresh, light approach, and without being scared that we can be doing something different and something new. And personally, I wanted to encourage all young people to study at universities of technology, and women, first of all. It is worthwhile. You do not need to be scared. You do not need, you can cope with it. And looking at my example, working when wearing rubber boots, it's not scary. You can be a woman and still do such a male profession. So I want to encourage all girls, fight, struggle, and you will win. So it was the day of high heels today, not rubber boots. So Zbigniew Konieczny. I would like to send a message to you all, ending our panel here. Do not be afraid, absolutely do not. If you have even the craziest idea, do analyze it, think it over, put forth a clear goal, what I must have in 2 years' time, in 5, in 10 years, and aim at it. Hard work and aim for your goal. One example from my experience, in 2006, I met a man who worked in General Electric, and from that meeting little time passed and we started building train engines together, and hardly anybody know that in Nowy Sącz in Europe, NEWAG and General Electric were doing train engines. I was not afraid of it, although at that time some people were knocking on their forehead saying what he is doing. No, they cannot cope with it. It's not this right technology. We caught up with shortcomings and we succeeded. We went further on, and yesterday we won a tender for delivery of tube carriages to Sofia, Bulgaria, together with Siemens. So if you put forth clear goals, you can manage. Don't be afraid. You have an idea, go for it till the very end. And now and again, you succeed. And here, yes, this 5% of good luck is needed. Thank you. So, Stanisław Gągała. Honorable young friends, my message is, do not be afraid of dreaming, because dreams make substantial things happen, but you have to simply take up hard work. And this is what I wish you. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you. Thanks to all panelists for this 1-hour lesson of business, knowledge about business, and I thank you for your attention, and I think it was not a lost hour. See you again.